Today, you're going to get some nuggets of wisdom about raising children, especially boys, from my friend and mentor, Steve. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the vlog. We've got a special treat for you this week. I'm going to be interviewing my friend and mentor, Steve Meeks, and we actually just finished a 30-minute interview. I'm going to condense it down to about 10 minutes here on the vlog, but we're going to be posting the entire interview over on your podcast, which is at manabouts.com. So be sure to check out the whole interview for all the behind-the-scenes goodies and nuggets. And with that, we'll lead you into the interview, and we will see you at the end. Hey folks, welcome back to the vlog. It's a beautiful, sunny and windy spring day here in the mountains of Western North Carolina. And this week we have a special episode for you. This will be a little different than some of our other vlog content, perhaps quite a bit longer. We want to have a conversation about taking our boys and transforming them into godly men. So we hope this will be a blessing and a benefit to you. And at the very end, I'd like to tell you about a brand new course that Steve and his sons have developed on their website, which is manabouts.com. And without further ado, welcome Steve.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Beautiful day.
So Steve is a friend of ours from Tennessee. We've known you for a number of years. We have worked together in a variety of ministry projects. And you have 4 boys and a daughter. Your children, they love the Lord.
Yep.
They have a missional focus in their life. They're married to godly spouses. And that's awesome. So I want to learn from you. I want to know how to do that.
I grew up in a home of an alcoholic. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't grow up in a situation where my parents had a good foundation of their own. And so a lot of families start off a little bit out of step. I don't know. They don't have a good start sometimes because of their upbringing. I'm saying this to encourage people that it doesn't matter what you came with, much or little, that you can raise godly children and have joy in your family. We have a blast. We hardly ever have a cross-word with one another. It's a joy, and I really believe anybody can get there.
You're going to tell us how.
I will tell you how.
Okay.
I'll tell you how I know. And I honestly, I haven't read lots of books. I should have read more. My wife's really good at that, and she's been contributing a lot to our rearing children from that.
And just to interject, we'll have an interview with Lindsay and your wife, Donna, that'll come out here in a couple of days. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And so the things that I would say that you need to have, and I would say that number one, you need to have a very strong personal relationship with God yourself. That doesn't mean you go to church. That includes that, I would say, but that's not enough. I say a daily time with God. You are really going after God for yourself, and because you want to know Him and you want to be known by Him. Guys, if they want something, they will find a way to get it. And godliness, if you want it, you will find your own way to get it. You won't have to wait on the pastor or somebody to tell you what to do. You'll just go digging until you get it. So one, I would say, first of all, as a dad, a husband, you have to have your own relationship with God. And I mean, go after Him. The second thing is you have to have a great relationship with your wife. I think that a strong family, a united marriage, it doesn't say a perfect marriage. Mine's not been perfect. If there's a flaw in it, it's been me. And I'm not joking on that. I have been the worst of us.
Oh yeah, me too.
But in spite of that, because we have the core piece there, because we do have love for one another and a desire to work through things and overcome hurdles and be a husband and wife to one another, our kids have seen that it's created an environment of security. So the relationship with God has given me personal security. I know I'm loved. I know I'm cared for, and it's not in what I do or have or what other people say about me. So I know I'm loved. I'm secure. That gives me the ability to work with my wife and hear her critiques and criticisms and corrections and so forth. And that creates an environment of security for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you begin to apply all the other teachings and principles and so forth.
So step one, get right with God.
Absolutely.
Step two, get right and stay right with your wife.
Strong marriage. That's right.
And those are both difficult in and of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But let's assume for the moment that we have those things as a foundation. As it relates specifically to raising children, and more specifically to raising boys, where do we go from there?
Let me just throw something out here. The idea of center stripes and guardrails. This helps me, okay? I give my children boundaries. And I use, for your sake, the illustration of center stripes and guardrails, because guardrails, especially here in the mountains where you are, where we live, there are a lot of cliffs that you can go over if you don't have something stopping you. And so the guardrail keeps you from crashing, and the center stripes keep you from going into someone else. So teaching kids how to deal with relationships so they don't crash and run over people, and keeping kids from knowing where the boundaries are so they don't go into things that are going to cause them loss of life, loss of reputation, other kinds of catastrophe type losses in their lives.
Right.
So knowing the boundaries and setting them for them and making those consistently firm. I think that's a big deal, is consistency. And so when you exemplify that to your kids and you say no and it's no, or you say yes and it's yes, just like we're encouraged to do in the scripture, that has power in a child's life, and they gain security, because they know if I touch that, if I go this far over, it's bad. So they know not to go there.
Right.
But if once it gives way, then they're never sure. They're not quite as certain or as secure.
Can I trust that anymore?
Absolutely.
Right.
I see parents all the time say, "Don't do that." I said, "Don't do that," and their voice is raised, and the kid keeps testing and testing this fence, and finally they go 1, 2, 3, and they keep testing until finally their voice hits this certain, "I said don't do that," or they start charging after the kid, and then the kid quits. And they're like, "I'll quit."
So what you've done is you've trained them to only respond at that point.
At that point.
Not at the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah. So consistency.
I'd love for you to share with our audience what Man Abouts is, what you have coming out here.
Yeah, well, we're really excited about it. And the boys and I have collaborated on this together. But about 20 years ago, I took my first son, Daniel, on a trip that was kind of a rite of passage. And I wanted to call him to be a man, but I wanted to call him to purity. And I learned some things on that trip. It was great. We nearly died. But it was great.
That was a canoeing trip, right?
It was a canoeing trip
right.
to the Boundary Waters up in Minnesota.
Yep.
And but it was great, and we came back, and the next boy, Caleb, he wanted to go, and so the things I learned from Daniel's trip, I applied into Caleb's, and then the next boy, Benjamin, and then on down to Josh, and everyone wanted to go, and we just kept adding on the learning from the one before, and so we've put all of that learning and those experiences and we've studied rite of passage. We lived in Africa for a while, and we saw traditional rites of passage there. We don't have that in our culture here.
Right.
We don't have something like it, and it's very important. It's very powerful in helping a boy leave childishness and move toward adulthood in a very intentional way. So we've put that together. We got to talking about it, and now we have a written manual actually here's the manual on how to do this, and then we have a video course, 7 teaching modules, and some bonus material just for the dads, and some other material that will help a dad walk away after our course with a plan in hand. He actually has written his own plan out. He knows exactly when he's going to go, what he's going to do, what he's going to say at each point of the way.
Nice.
And the tokens will be exchanged and the whole thing. So we put it all together, and the dad can look at it all and choose the elements he wants out of that and come up with some of his own. But all the important stuff is in there.
That's awesome. So it'll be at manabouts.com.
Yep.
There'll be links in the description. There'll be a discount code if you sign up through our link here. And we're also going to be doing a live event, a live chat with Steve and myself.
Yep.
By the time this video comes out, we'll have the date for you. Okay, so we hope you've been blessed by this interview. Again, there's a whole lot more. Be sure to go on over to manabouts.com. /podcast. There's a link in the description where you can get the whole interview and more details about what Steve is doing on their blog and with this awesome course that they have coming out soon. So we'll see you over there.
Good. See ya.